Hey guys, I'm Shamir, the owner of Dr. Locs, a product line that prioritizes the needs of the lock community. I'm going to answer one of these questions we get a lot. My edges are going away. What's going on? Please help. So a lot of times when people ask me that question, I get the feeling they want me to sell them one of the products. What products are going to help me with my edges? So if you follow me this long and you've been hearing me, you probably heard me talk about this. Everything comes from the inside out. So it's not easy for anyone online to tell you exactly why your edges are going away. As a loctician, where I've sat with people in a salon and I've asked them questions, we were able to figure out what probably did happen and what's going on through a lot of questions, Q&As, and me touching their hair and looking at their hair. A lot of times I feel like people have forgotten what happened, what's going on, and then I'll remind them. As a loctician, as anyone that is in a salon, we're not doctors, we're not running blood tests. So that's a whole nother thing too. So I want you to keep in mind that one, when you're online looking for answers, you want to keep in mind the best way to get your questions answered is by going to see someone in person and or going to a doctor and having them run blood tests. But most of the time, in my opinion, it's not that deep. I'll give you a few examples as far as what I found, as far as why people have these issues when it comes to the edges going bad. Number one, you may have just had a baby. That is a major life shift when it comes to your body. And so I find a lot of times when women have just had a baby, their hair kind of does something. It's not necessarily always the edges. It's a shift. The body's like, you just delivered a whole human. And this is a common thing I notice is that their hair will grow out. This is a lock, right? And then they had a baby, and then just keep in mind, let's roll that back. So locks are like a timeline, okay? So in a whole lock, I can see different inconsistencies sometime if that person has had a lot of life going on in the past couple of years. So when it comes to me having a baby, after they have that baby, what will happen is the hair will maybe come back in strong, and then they'll have that dip. So they had the baby this time and the hair kept growing. So that indentation where the hair got weak is still showing up. So there's ways to take care of that. But the biggest thing to note is if the hair is still growing in or not, Unfortunately, in my opinion, there's no way to detect what's going to happen when you have a baby. It's just different for every birth. But that is one reason why someone might have quote unquote bad edges. Number two, what are you doing with your hair on a day-to-day basis? So another reason why I find that people have had bad edges or the edges are going back is because they may be very active in their scalp in that area while they're at work. A lot of times I find people have nervous twitches. It could be rubbing your eyebrows, rubbing your eyelashes, touching your face, or putting your hand in your hair and twisting that area. An ongoing thing happens all the time when I'm on the phone with people and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't see them, right? So they're like, oh my gosh, my locks are hanging on the thread off the edges. And I ask them, are you tilting your head off to the side at work and going like this? And they're like, yes, how do you know? It's because they're at work going like they're thinking, they're touching their hair, and your hair wants to be left alone. So this is very common for people when it comes to their hair loss, is that they are very active with their fingers. Try to hold your hand back away from your hair and allow your hair to grow. 3, what are the hairstyles that you're doing? Are your hairstyles very tight? Okay. I had a story where a woman, that was new for me. There's a lot of people that are like chair hoppers, they go from salon to salon. And, this one woman, she's been getting her hair locked and styled for a long time. And then she went to someone else, and this person retwisted and styled her locks as normal, but she did it really, really tight. And then here she is now in my chair. So what's happening, she is now coming to me with her hair broken off. But so through questions and Q&A, I asked her how long this has been going on, and we figured out that it was because of this particular hairstylist that she was going to, that her styles were too tight. Number 4, stress. Stress is like the number one stunner. Like, stress can pop up in different areas of your locks randomly. Just be aware, like, what's going on in your life. A lot of us have gone through things in the past couple years. Be aware and be honest with yourself, not to go down into a deep hole, but be aware. This to me is a beautiful way to see how you are connected to your body. Your body is just not like some robot, like it operates off of you. So I get this question a lot, and it's pretty disturbing how much people they're not aware how we are connected to our hair, skin, and nails, to our body, period, our organs, all of that. So there's a lot of stress factors that are around us all the time. It is our responsibility to figure out how we can cease that stress, or at least kind of maneuver through it, as a hairstylist, as any hairstylist that's watching this, and if you don't know, if you see this happening with your clients, it's not always because I get this a lot, people will say, oh, that they're twisting too tight. A lot of times someone's hair is breaking off because they are stressed. And yes, I'm saying it with my chest because I'm so tired of it. Because I'll see those same clients, and I'll ask them questions, communication, and what you'll also see, like I've seen this, where someone will come to me with a bunch of, like, their roots are really juicy and a lot of froey hair just sitting there. And then after that, then it's thinning. And then after that, it's solid locks. What that tells me is that the person had a time period that they were stressed because their roots are thick. And then per like every few inches, I can guess how long that was, and how well, like how long ago it was, by how further away that stress part of their locks are. So if it's like around this area, I can say about 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, you were going through XYZ, you were going through something, right? And they'll be like, every single time, they'll be like, oh yeah, I did. Someone, something happened, yada, yada, yada. Your hair reflected that. So there are ways to build a bridge in those areas. Some locticians use, I know I use human kinky hair. Some people will tell you to cut them off. It's up to you pretty much. But I'm just here to kind of give you some ideas as far as why you're seeing breakage in these areas. 5. But this is kind of like a bonus one. What about color? Have you been coloring your hair as far as bleaching your hair? I'm pro coloring locks and stuff, but there's a lot of times we're not doing it properly. We're not getting it done properly. We are doing ourselves. We are not taking care of the locks. That's the big thing. So a common question people will ask me is like, why are my locks breaking off? So when I look at their hair, I'll see indentions. And what that is, as I tell you guys all the time, locks are like a timeline. That's when they got their hair colored. And so over time, because they didn't take care of the color, it's falling off at those indentions. So if you've ever colored your locks, think about how long it's been since you colored. What was that time period? And then you'll start seeing, like, you can round out how much your hair grows each year. And you're like, oh yeah, 2 years ago I did. Bada boom. I'm not sure how you can fix that. If there's a way to reverse it, I would recommend going to see your loctician that colors your hair. Or if you did not, go to a professional that colors locks and get some feedback from them.